Oh, me. I get a haircut about twice a year. This was the week. Same with the beard trim. Hey, kinfolk. You have told me your name, and I don't remember it. What's your name? Or do you want me to just call you kinfolk? Hey, Tom, is the audio and video coming through good? Hi, June. You have a good week, June? That's good. Tom, what is I and C and L? Hey, Lily. Central North Carolina, you are not far from me. I'm about, 90 miles southwest of Murphy, North Carolina, over here in northeast Georgia. Well, it's a minute after 6. Some people are coming in. Let's give them just a couple more minutes before we start, okay? We'll give them till about 4 or 5 after, and then we'll get started on this week's show. And y'all are going to have to put your thinking hats on for this week's show, because I have got some questions, or mainly I have got a question that I'm going to ask all y'all to answer in the comments, and then who knows, it might bring up something for discussion, or it might just be an answer. Everybody ready for some cold weather? Not everybody. The people down here near me, June and Lily, and um, let's see, Kinfolk is not far from me. Y'all ready for some, what for us is cold weather? Now, it's not cold for Tom, seeing as how he's up there in New York, but we're fixing to get some weather in the high teens, low 20s Tuesday night, Wednesday night. Warm up a little bit starting Thursday night, I think. Hey, D&D. I've come to call y'all that. I never know who I'm talking to, Dave or Darcy, so I've started calling y'all D&D. Y'all have a good week. No, June, this isn't cold. This is very, very cool. It's not cold yet. It's going to really drop Tuesday night and Wednesday night. Thursday it'll come back up a little bit, and by Friday I think our lows at night are going to be in the high 30s, low 40s. But it's going to be way down there for a little bit. Go away, cat. Well, I guess we. Kinfolk, you must have stepped away from the computer just a second ago when you first came in. You have told me your name, but I don't remember it. I have got a terrible memory for names. Now, faces I'll never forget, but names I do. And you have told me your name before, and I don't remember what it is. But what's your name? Or do you want me to just keep calling you Kinfolk? Yeah, we're going to get some rain tomorrow. I don't think it's going to be bad, June. Yeah, Tom, I know you hadn't been on Facebook much. You hadn't been uploading much. You get on me for not uploading much. I think your last video was about a month ago, wasn't it? Pretty close. Shane. Okay. I'll try to remember that, but I'll probably ask you about 5 more times. I am horrible on names. Half the time, if you ask me who I am, I have to get my wallet out and look at my ID to tell you what my name is. Well, it's 5 after. We've got 5 in here so far. There'll probably be some more drag in too, but let's start. Start off with housekeeping. That's the first thing you got to do every week. Housekeeping. If y'all have any spare cash and you want a good charity to donate to, my favorite charity, no, it's not me. My favorite charity is not me. I'm not going to say use the super chat, and I'm not going to say use the PayPal donate button down there in the description. I am going to say that my favorite charity is a place called the Atlanta Hope Lodge. It's part of the American Cancer Society, and I do not donate to the American Cancer Society. But I do donate to the Hope Lodge, the Atlanta Hope Lodge. It's a place where people who are being treated in Atlanta for cancer and live farther than 60 miles away from their hospital where they're being treated can stay for free. It's an awesome place. I spent 2 weeks there when I was in Atlanta for radiation treatment. And it's a really awesome place, and it operates strictly on donations. American Cancer Society gives them the money to open one up and operate it for the first 2 years. And after 2 years, it's supposed to be self-sufficient. This one in Atlanta is over 2 years old, and it's supposed to stand on its own. And the only way it stands on its own is through donations. And Tom, I believe, just put a link in for where you can go to donate to it. And if you have any money you want to put to a good charity, I'd really appreciate you donating to them. They are awesome. The people are great. The facility is great. There's a video I did back in April. If you want to see what the Hope Lodge is all about, there's a video I did, I think, back in April. That'll give you a tour of the whole place and tell you a little bit about it. Second piece of housekeeping. If you don't have your own Amazon link, if you don't sell on Amazon, if you don't have it where people can buy from you on Amazon and you don't have your own link, and you're not already using somebody else's, I don't want to take somebody else's thunder away from them. Down there in the description, there's a link for where you can go straight to Amazon. There's some Amazon links for different products too, but strictly to go to Amazon anytime you go there. If you'll use that link, I'll get a few pennies off of whatever you buy. It's not a big commission, and it doesn't change what you pay. Last piece of housekeeping. I do have a book out if you want to raise pigs and you don't know how. I've got a book out, been out, I think January 9th will be 3 years, my birthday. Published on my birthday 3 years ago. Yesterday I couldn't spell pig farmer, and today I are one. Does it tell you everything you will ever want to know about pigs? No. Does it tell you a whole lot about pigs from the veterinary scientific angle? No. Does it tell you about pigs from raising them like commercial pork farms do? No. What it does is tell you a good way for homesteaders to start raising pigs when you don't know anything about pigs. Because that's where I started. I actually owned 3 little 2-month-old piglets before I had ever been within 100 yards of a living pig. And I wish I had had a book like this. And even if you don't need the book for how to raise pigs, I've been told it's a pretty funny read. I tried to write it where it was entertaining as well as being instructional. That's what I try to do with my channel, is I want it to be informative and entertaining. Maybe I succeed, maybe I don't. I don't know. But anyway, that's all the housekeeping. Let's see if anybody has had anything to say that I need to respond to yet. Change your name, but if I forget kinfolk, it's fine. That'll do okay. Let's see. I appreciate you getting those links in, Tom. Hey, Mary Grace. No, you're not really late. You're a few minutes late technically, but I'm just getting the house cleaning out of the way, stuff you've already heard before. My favorite charity, and don't forget to buy the book and that sort of thing. Let's see. JR, how you doing today? Okay. The topic this week, and I try to have the topic on homesteading every week, but we're coming up on Christmas, 10 days away. If y'all had lost track, it's only 10 days away. You only have one more Saturday, and now we're at the end of Sunday. You have one more weekend to do any shopping. Now, if you're like me, you're shopping on Christmas Eve before the stores close at 6 o'clock. I'm terrible about that. I am the worst shopper in the world. Amazon makes it a lot easier. But what I do have to get, I do it last minute. But anyway, you're only 10 days away from Christmas. And since we're in the Christmas season, not the holiday season, the Christmas season, I'm going to change it up a little bit this week. You know, lots of people on YouTube do Q&A videos. And usually that's so the viewers can ask the person doing the YouTube video or the live stream can ask questions. Turn it around on y'all this week. I'm going to ask y'all questions, or not questions. I'm going to ask y'all one question, and I'll go first on answering it. Give you a little time to put your thinking caps on. This is the Christmas season. And my favorite part of the Christmas season, the part that's the most important to me, is the reason for it being Christmas. Christ's birth. That's my favorite part. But I'm not going to ask you your favorite part. I'm going to ask y'all your second favorite part. What's your second favorite part of the Christmas season? Now, while y'all are putting your thinking caps on and trying to figure out what your second favorite part is, let me tell you what mine is. There is a school in Great Britain, in the United Kingdom, called King's College. It's in Cambridge, England. There are, I think, 3 Cambridge colleges in the United States as well, but there's one in Great Britain. It's called King's College at Cambridge. And every year, on Christmas Eve at 3 o'clock their time, 3 o'clock in the afternoon their time, they do, I can't call it a performance, it's a service, it's a church service. It's in their chapel, which is just amazing to look at. It'll remind you of our national cathedral on a smaller scale, or it'll remind you of what was the big church that burned in Europe a few months ago. It'll remind you of that. The architecture is awesome. Tell you a little bit about King's College. King's College was started by Henry VI in 1441. And the architecture, when you see the place, you can tell that it was started several hundred years ago. You know, here in the United States, when we've got a building that's 300 years old, we think we've got an old building. You go to see some of the buildings in England and Scotland and Ireland, and 300 years old, that's almost a spec house that was just built for sale. Their stuff gets really old. And King's College was started in 1441, and they do the service that I'm talking about. It's called a Festival of 9 Lessons and Carols. It's mostly music. There is some reading of text. But my second favorite part of Christmas is on Christmas Eve morning at 10 o'clock, listening to the King's College Chorus and speakers do a Festival of 9 Lessons and Carols. If you will, I think Thomas put a link up to the college. Let's see. Well, he hasn't yet, but he's going to. Aren't you, Tom? Mary Grace, your computer shut down. You missed the question. Okay. The question is, what is your second favorite part of Christmas? Not your first favorite. For most people, first favorite is the reason for the season, the birth of Christ. And probably tied for first is going to be family. But I want to know your second favorite reason. JR, you know what's really funny about anti-Christians and agnostics? They just think they don't have any faith. Do you know how much faith it takes to be an atheist? You've got to have an awful lot of faith to be an atheist. It's just faith is in the wrong place. But you've got to have a lot stronger faith than most Christians if you're an atheist. There you go. Thomas has the link up. If you'll go to that link, it'll tell you all about the Festival of Nine Lessons and Carols, and it'll tell you how to find a radio station. See, it's broadcast on the BBC. If you have a way to listen to the BBC, it's broadcast on the BBC at 10 a.m. our time, Eastern time, 3 p.m. their time on Christmas Eve. Excuse me. But if you don't have a way to listen to the BBC, it's broadcast on a lot of stations here in the States, mostly the National Public Radio stations. But if you'll go to that link Tom put up, it'll tell you how to find a station near you so that you can listen to it. June, you can listen to it off of, I'm drawing a blank. If you can get, I think it is WABE out of Atlanta is the NPR station. That's where you'd be able to hear it. Everybody else that's on this live stream listening, you're going to have to find one close to you. But like I say, it's usually an NPR station. Let's see. Well, shoot. June, thank you. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Let's see. Watching your grandkids. That's real good. That's real good, Shane. I don't see my grandkids a whole lot. Christmas Day, my kids, Cindy's kids, the blended family, which all of our kids are adults. They come here for Christmas dinner, but Christmas Eve, when this is on, we usually go over there. They live. My son lives 60 miles south, and my step family, which I don't recognize step. Step is a bunch of bull. My kids are my kids. I don't care if they're Cindy's or mine. They're about 25, 30 miles to the north. But yeah, the grandkids are good. The grandkids are real good. I wish I saw more of mine. The ones 25 miles away I see fairly often. The ones that are 60 miles to the south, my son's daughter, my granddaughter, I don't see her near enough. I'm going to get her up here and get her fishing this next spring, though. She's 5 years old, and she's dainty. She doesn't want to get her hands dirty. I'm going to get her up here for about 2 weeks this next spring, and by the time I send her home, she'll be baiting her own hook and getting fish off the line on her own. We're going to get rid of that dainty stuff, turn her into a country girl. I can't believe my son's letting her be dainty. Let's see. Do you have public radio station in Cartersville, June? I didn't know y'all had one over there. Let's see. Well, June, I don't have a whole lot of family. Actually, when I married Cindy, I sort of got a lot of family. I've got a sister in Lawrenceville, and my son's down in Monroe, and my wife's family's all up in Murray County, up in Chatsworth. But since I'm a service brat, my dad, when he retired, they didn't go back home. If my parents had gone back home, they'd have gone to Memphis. Memphis is a terrible town now. It used to be a beautiful city. That city has been ruined. But anyway, we wound up retiring to Georgia because my parents built a motel down in Valdosta, and I've been in Georgia ever since I was 9 years old. So I don't have a whole lot of family around, but I enjoy being around the ones that have a chance to. Let's see. Well, Tom, since yours comes through the internet, I know you'll be able to find a station. As a matter of fact, next Sunday, because I'm going to remind y'all of this next Sunday. Next Sunday, if Tom might have a way to have a link where anybody that can't find a local station that's going to carry it, Tom just might come up with a way to put a link in here to where you can find, where you can listen over the internet. The service is really it's a very, very appropriate Christmas service. We'll just leave it at that. And the music is fantastic. If you like choral music, it is great. Now, choral music is not my first choice. My first choice is Southern Gospel. I think Bill Gaither, well, not Bill, Gloria Gaither. If it wasn't for Gloria Gaither, there wouldn't be a Bill Gaither that was famous. But I think the Gaithers put together an awesome group of people. A couple of which I know from way back. They've died now because they were older when I knew them when I was a teenager. But the Goodmans, when it was the Happy Goodman family, shoot, I knew them when they were still traveling on a bus and nobody knew them except right here in the South. But I like Southern Gospel and I like country, but I like choral music too. And if for no other reason, the Festival of Nine Lessons and Carols has some truly awesome choral music in it. Let's see, what else am I missing over here? Yeah, thanks, JR. Remind them, everybody hit that thumbs up. We got 8 watching and 5 thumbs up. And somebody doesn't like it. Okay, that's fine. Just tell me why. If you don't tell me what's wrong with it, where you would not like it, I can't fix it and make it right now, can I? A pig-loving little girl. Oh, that's cool, Shane. I've seen your grandkids a little bit in your videos. You got a cool family down there. I love it that let's see, the one that I really remember was when you're pregnant, not now pregnant, because now she's got a new baby, born at Piedmont, as a matter of fact. Piedmont or Noonan, I think. But a few weeks before that, of all your videos, you've got one where she is just as pregnant as can be, looks like a balloon about to pop. And what's she doing? She's out deer hunting. Now that is dedication. Yeah, like June says, I don't charge people for mashing that thumbs up button. I know some people on YouTube, they might charge you for doing it, but I don't. If you hit that thumbs up, I don't charge you anything. All right. Is that everybody's opinion on what their second favorite part of Christmas is? Because I thought we were going to have an hour and a half show. People telling about that. Of course, there's only 8 in here right now, which is not as many as normal. But closer we get to Christmas, the fewer that are going to be in here. There's probably going to be 5 of us next week because that close to Christmas, people have got an awful lot of stuff to be doing. Dave and Darcy, not only does a little bit of dirt never hurt, believe it or not, it actually helps. Oh, JR, I don't think I could shoot one that had spots. I just don't think I could do it. I would imagine it is pretty good. I, you know, here's a prime example of how crazy YouTube is. Mary Grace just put up a comment that there was nothing in the world wrong with. Tom just approved it. But YouTube, see that comment that Noah Grace said, the second best thing I get is to eat my pasta with pig's feet? What is wrong with that? YouTube put it out, held it up where it had to be approved by either me or Tom. That's just crazy. YouTube makes no sense whatsoever. Okay, I'm taking advantage of it. Here we are on YouTube, so I shouldn't run it down. They're not charging me to be able to do this. But that's just crazy. One of these days I'll figure YouTube out. If I live to be as old as Methuselah. Let's see. Oh, 60 pounds. You know, JR, we got some deer around here. Let me explain a little bit to start with. We've got 2 retirement communities around here. One of them's called Big Canoe, one of them's called Bent Tree. Now, these didn't start out as retirement communities. These were people in Atlanta that had some extra money and wanted a cabin in the mountains. They came up here and they're these little gated communities and built cabins for the weekend. Well, those people that did that 30 years ago have now gotten old enough to retire and they've moved up here. So now they've become what were weekend communities have now become retirement communities with full-time residents. And they don't want you shooting the deer. They would love to make it illegal to shoot deer all over North Georgia, but they can't do that. But they can make it illegal to shoot deer in their little communities. Let me tell you how bad it is. Because of the pressure of so many deer in their communities, the deer are tiny. I'm talking tiny. I'm talking about 40 and 50 pound does having babies. Yeah. And they're starving. They are literally, if I'm lying, I'm dying. They are literally eating the hardy plank siding off of houses. Hardy plank siding is a mixture of concrete and wood. And because it's got wood in it, it attracts the deer because there's nothing else they can get to. They've eaten all their rose bushes. They've eaten all their nice, pretty perennials. They eat the annuals. And they're down to where they're actually eating the siding off of houses. But they don't want any hunters in there to thin the herd, which would improve the health of the herd. But you can't tell them that. Can't come kill our deer. You want to see animal cruelty? That's animal cruelty. Let's see. I'm that way on piglets, Tom. They get to running around and you just can't keep up with how many there are. Now, unfortunately, I've only got 5 cows, so I can count all of them. Actually, I've got 6 cows, but one's in the freezer at the slaughterhouse to be picked up tomorrow morning. But My cows I can keep up with. My piglets I can't. Let's see. Lily, I wish more people would do that, making gifts instead of going out and buying something, or even worse, giving cash and gift cards. People say, you know, some people that are, some family members of mine, extended family members of mine, they'll give gift cards, and I'll say, why don't you get something, instead of just doing the quick thing and buying a gift card, why don't you get them a gift? Well, with the gift card, they can buy what they, something they really want. Well, the answer to that is, you're giving gifts to people you know. If you put some thought into it, you can give them something that they really want without having to give them a gift card. Just put a little bit of thought in it. Then you can come up with something they would appreciate. Everybody knows what to give me. Anybody that really knows me doesn't have to give me a gift card. If they want to give me a gift, if they want to give me a $5,000 gift, they know what I want that costs $5,000. If they want to give me a $1,000 gift, they know what I want that costs $1,000. If they want to give me a $10 gift, they know what I want that costs $10. You give it a gift to people you know, you don't have to put a whole lot of thought into it. Just put a little bit of thought into it and actually either get them a gift or do like Lily and make gifts. You know one thing we're giving away this year? Lard. Lard that we just made from the pig that we just had slaughtered 2 weeks ago. If we give it, there's a few family members that actually bake, and leaf lard from the fat around the kidneys in a pig, is some of the best lard in the world to use to make crust for pies. More people need to make gifts. They really do. Let me catch up here. Yeah, JR, disease and famine go together. A deer that's starving is a weak deer, and a weak deer is going to get sick. Shane, once you get away from communities like these, Big Canoe here in Pickens County, Bent Tree here in Pickens County, there's a couple of them in the county north of here, up in Gilmer County. Once you get away from those communities, we've got some pretty good sized deer. But not in those communities, because all those people can't shoot Bambi. Yeah, fine. Don't shoot Bambi. Bambi's kids are going to starve to death. Lily, they could put out feeders, I guess, but number one, they got to have a lot of money to buy enough feed, because those deer, there's so many of them, and they're so hungry, it would take a tremendous amount of feed to keep them fed. The best thing for those deer would be to thin the herd. Well, Tom, isn't there one out there small enough to be a new calf? JR, some pig lard. All the fat on a pig. If you use a fat like from the back fat or anything like that, it's great fat. It'll work fine for making pie crust and everything, but it'll have just a hint of pork flavor in it. Leaf lard is made from the fat that's around the kidneys, around the internal organs of a pig, and leaf lard is totally odorless, flavorless. It's just good lard for doing pie crust. That's a good idea, Shane. We got so much extended family. If I was a rich man, it'd still dig into my pockets pretty deep trying to give gifts to all the adults. Some of the adults get some. My kids, my son, Cindy's son, and two daughters. Those, well, and my father-in-law, but Cindy's sisters and my brother-in-law and all that. No, that's not. I'm not going to buy into. I'm not going to feed the demon that Christmas is about gifts. The kids expect gifts and they get something, but I'm not going to feed that commercial demon that totally bastardizes what Christmas is all about. Nope, I ain't going to do it. Today's Dave's birthday. Well, when he gets back in here by the computer and he's watching and listening, let us know so we can all tell him happy birthday. Nope, JR, not that we'll force them. That will allow a special hunt, yes. That will force them to allow a special hunt in the homeowners association community? No. In their gated community, you cannot force them to have a hunt. I wish you could. If the calf is new, you shouldn't have that. A new calf shouldn't be causing you to screw up on the numbers just because of the tremendous difference in size. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and a half. Well, yeah, June. Time is the best gift and that's one you can't give. That goes back to something that I hit on pretty hard in some of my homesteading videos. There are two currencies in the world. Everybody thinks currency is that stuff you carry around in your wallet or use plastic. No, that's only one currency. The other currency is time. And I would say that's the one that's the most precious and that you should be the most careful about how you spend it. Because if you spend all your money, you can go get some more money. But if you waste your time, you can't go get any more of that. So you need to use it pretty wisely. Dave is back. All right, everybody. Tell Dave at Two Cedars Micro Farm happy birthday. I would sing him happy birthday if y'all could all join in, but I'm not going to do it solo because by the time I finished singing happy birthday, there's 8 watching, but by the time I got through, that number would be down to 0. So I'm not going to sing him happy birthday. So everybody just tell Dave happy birthday. That is awesome, Lily. That is, I'm not worried. Oh, hang on, Mary Grace. Lily, that's a really great thing to do. That really is. Putting some time and effort and love into the gifts is awesome. Now, Mary Grace, I don't care if it's royalty free. I'm not going to sing it, not because I'm worried about YouTube getting on me for copyright infringement. I'm not going to sing it because I don't want to make y'all sick. Actually, Mary Grace, if it's, let me see, how do I put this? Me by myself singing sounds terrible. I've heard it. I've heard it while I'm doing it and I don't like it. I've heard it recorded and I don't like it. However, for some reason, I do a pretty good bass in a group. I've never been in a barbershop quartet. I wish there was a barbershop quartet around here that I could get involved with. I have sung in a gospel quartet before, and I do a halfway decent job of singing bass. Now, with that said, I am nowhere near as good as some of my favorite basses. Well, actually, my 2 favorite basses, gospel songs, gospel singing, is they're both dead. George Yance sang with the Cathedrals for years, sang with Gaither for a long time. George Yance, I think, is my favorite bass singer. And then nobody can compare to J.D. Sumner. I mean, J.D. Sumner, you hear him going down and down and down, and you think you have heard him go as low as a human being can go, and then he went down another octave. That man could just be carrying on a conversation with you and make the room shake. I'm not nearly like that, but I do okay with a gospel quartet. Thomas, there'd be a fair number of candles on your cake too, you know. Yeah, June. There is a barbershop group in Marietta. Um, cannot remember the name of it. There's a barbershop course in Marietta, and it's a takeoff on the name of the famous Big Chicken. And it might be the Big Chicken chorus, I can't remember. And then several of the members of that chorus have barbershop quartets, but that's a little bit far for me to go. Just like I used to be in a bagpipe band. I play the bagpipes, but nobody up here does. And I wasn't going to drive from Jasper to Stone Mountain every week for practice. And there was just no groups to play with up here, so I hadn't picked up my bagpipes in years. I'm not sure I could still play the bagpipes. With my COPD, I don't know that I've got enough wind. I need to pick them up and try, just see if I still can. But there's nobody up here with bagpipes. There's nobody up here for barbershop quartet. There is some gospel quartets around up here. Nobody's looking for a bass right now. But who knows? I might find a gospel quartet here sometime soon. Let's see. Yeah, June. J.D. Sumner. God, what was the name of his group? J.D. Sumner. I can't believe it. It was a backup band for backup group for Elvis. J.D. It was J.D.'s group. His nephew Donnie Sumner sang in it for a while until Donnie had pretty serious addiction problems, real serious addiction problems. Almost died, almost killed himself, and he's in recovery. Like, I don't know if he was an alcoholic too. I imagine he was. He's in recovery now and has been for several years. Just like me. Matter of fact, he just lives a little bit north of here, just across the Tennessee line. I talk to Donnie on the phone on a semi-regular basis, sort of checking on each other, making sure we're still staying clean. Stamps. J.D. Sumner and the Stamps Quartet. There. I knew that name would come to me eventually. Let's see. Oh, 60? That's all, Dave? Yeah, mine's 65 next month. January 9th. When were you in Stone Mountain, Mary Grace? I used to, Stone Mountain's a town as well as the mountain and park. And the barbershop, the bagpipe band I was a member of was based in Stone Mountain. And the Stone Mountain Park, there's a big Scottish festival there every year, all the Scottish bagpipe bands, dancers, the athletic events. Really cool festival. I would really enjoy going to play there. I was actually the name of the band I was in was the bagpipe band was the Athol Highlanders, and don't make fun of the name. It's Athol, not it's Atholl. Athol Highlanders band, and it is unique in that it is the only bagpipe band in the United States that has been recognized as an official band of British royalty. So, for all those other bagpipe bands out there, there. I can't believe I just did that. That's cute, Tom. Yeah, that the bass for Home Free is good. So's the bass for Pentatonics. Um, and there's a third group, Home Free, Pentatonics, and I can't remember the third one. All three of them have excellent basses. Back in the '70s, you were there before, in my single years before Jim. If you were there in the '70s, you were there before I moved to North Georgia, moved to suburban Atlanta. That was in '85. In in the '70s, you was just a child, because I know how old you are. And in 1972, I was 17, and you were only a couple years older than me. Uh, you were just a youngin' when you climbed Stone Mountain. What was a teenager from New York doing in Stone Mountain, Georgia, in the 1970s? I'm sitting there giving you a hard time about coming to Georgia in the '70s. Uh, I shouldn't tell this. I hitchhiked to New York for Woodstock. I was 13. Dang, JR. 43 months of hitchhiking to work. Holy cow. I hope it was long shift work, something like firemen do, 2 days on, 2 days off, or something like that. I'd hate to think you had to do that every day. She was looking for Jim. Did you find Jim at Stone Mountain, Mary Grace? Mary Grace, from what you have said and what I have seen about you on your video, on your channel, and what you have said about your mother, yeah, I just can't see you as the Woodstock type. I didn't know that, June. Does that group have a YouTube channel? And are they as good as their parents? Oh, 1 to 2 times every couple of weeks. That's not too bad. I remember you mentioned that in one of your videos, Mary Grace, that she wanted you to be a nun. Um, you told us on one of your videos, you told us about your trip down through Virginia and everything. I don't think you wound up being a nun. That life just wasn't for you, was it? JR, the Oak Ridge Boys, the Mighty Oaks. That's one of my favorite groups. There was it went away, and I wish it hadn't. There was a music venue about 35 miles south of me. The actual address was Gainesville, Georgia, but it wasn't in Gainesville. It was out in the country. And the name of this venue was Concerts in the Country. And they had a big, they called it a tent. It had a metal roof and canvas drop down sides, and it was on a sloped floor with a stage and good lighting. I mean, really good. This place was set up good. Folding chairs so they could rearrange it as they needed to, and they had all kind of big musical groups there. I've seen, let's see, I saw George Jones there, saw Kenny Rogers there, which, by the way, you might like his music, and I like his music. Kenny Rogers is a jerk. Personally, he's a jerk. But every year, their last show was in October. And it was always the Oak Ridge Boys. And every year, my second wife and I would go to see the Mighty Oaks. They are awesome. And yes, the Sattlers are as well. Yeah, June, concerts in the country. I don't know why it went away. It's not like somebody bought the land and put up a subdivision or anything like that. The venue's gone, but it wasn't overtaken by anything. It was far enough. It was concerts in the country, and it was far enough out in the country that it's still out in the country. It's not quite as out in the country as it was, but it's still just a place out in the country. And I don't know what happened to it, because every time I ever went there, the place was packed. I mean, packed. And I know when we went to get tickets to the Oaks, you had to buy your tickets like 3-4 months ahead of time. This was before the internet was big and before you could buy your tickets online too. You had to go to a Ticketmaster outlet, Kroger, Publix, one of the grocery stores. You had to go someplace that was a Ticketmaster outlet, and you better get your tickets 3 or 4 months ahead of time, or you weren't going to see the Oak Ridge Boys. You weren't going to. So it's the same way I went to see Jerry Lee Lewis there one time, and I went to buy tickets for that 4 months ahead of time, and I'd hardly any choice left of tickets for where to sit. It was almost sold out. I don't know why the place went away. I wish it hadn't. JR, I used to listen to Home Free a lot. I haven't listened to them a whole lot lately. That would be sad to hear, because they're an awesome group. There's a lot of talent there. Was it Pentatonics, or what's the other group I'm trying to think of that did Ring of Fire? And a cappella Ring of Fire. And oh my Lord, they did an awesome job. Johnny Cash was sitting somewhere just clapping away, because they did an awesome job on Ring of Fire. Engelbert Humperdinck. Oh God, I hadn't heard that name in forever. Oh, I shouldn't laugh at you, Mary Grace. You know, back when you and I were teenagers, you know who one of my favorite singers was? And you ain't gonna believe this. Now remember, I went to Woodstock. I wasn't much of a hippie. I didn't have long hair, and I'm more of a hippie now than I was then. But I did go to Woodstock. Now, remembering that, think about the fact that one of my favorite singers was Don Ho, and one of my favorite songs was Tiny Bubbles. Now that's weird. That's right, Rainfire had both bases. It had both groups, not just both bases. It had both groups, didn't it? I believe Ring of Fire had both groups. And then I think it was Pentatonics did a two-group song with the Statlers, I think. Might have been the Oaks, but I think it was with the Statlers, and I don't remember the song they did. It was Elvira. They did, the two groups got